So think about the snappy snare drum in your favorite hip-hop track.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually lying to you.
It really is.
I mean, if you were to strip away the musical notes and, the vocal melodies from almost any track you love,
right,
whether that's like a massive arena pop anthem or a pulsing techno beat or even just a heavy trap banger.
Yeah, any of them.
You wouldn't be left with a traditional instrument. You'd actually be left with the exact same sound you hear on a broken television set.
Yep. Just pure static.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The heavy rushing static of a disconnected radio, or like that wall of hiss from the sleep app on your phone.
It sounds completely counterintuitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we've been conditioned to think of that sound white noise as a mistake.
Right, like something's broken.
Exactly. It's the sound of a bad signal. It's the hiss you actively try to tune out.
Yeah.
But in the architecture of modern music, that raw, unmusical static is actually the load-bearing pillar.
It's crazy to think about.
It really is. It's this deliberate, meticulously shaped tool, and it gives the music you listen to its physical impact, its rhythm, and even its warmth.
Okay, let's unpack this, because for this deep dive, we are on a mission to figure out the what, the why, and the where of white noise in music production.
We'll love it.
We really want to demystify this invisible tool for you, because you, the listener, probably interact with this sound every single day without even realizing it.
Oh, absolutely. Hundreds of times a day.
But before we can start spotting white noise hiding in plain sight, we need to understand what it actually is on a physical level, beyond just calling it static.
Right. So to grasp the physics of it, we really have to look at the audible spectrum.
The range of human hearing.
Exactly. The entire range. So for the average person, that spans from roughly 20 hertz down at the very lowest, deepest bass, all the way up to 20,000 hertz.
Or 20 kilohertz.
Yeah, 20 kilohertz is the absolute highest, most piercing treble. Now, normally, sounds occupy very specific real estate in that spectrum.
Like a bass guitar sits down low.
Right. And a lead vocal sits right in the middle. A tambourine rings up at the top.
Makes sense.
But white noise, it doesn't pick a lane. Scientifically speaking, it's a random signal that contains equal energy at every single frequency in that entire spectrum, all simultaneously.
See, I've always loved the name white noise because it's a direct, really elegant analogy to light.
Yes, exactly.
Because in optics, white light isn't the absence of color. It's what you get when you combine all the visible color wavelengths together at once.
Spot on.
You smash red, green, and blue light together, and boom, you get pure white light.
And in audio, when you combine every possible audible frequency together at the exact same time, you get pure white noise.
Which is why it sounds like that rushing wall of hiss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There is no single dominant pitch or like a note for your brain to latch onto. It is total spectral saturation.
And just like with light, there are actually other colors of noise too, which I think is a really great way to contextualize it.
Oh, it really helps visualize it.
Yeah, if you've ever scrolled through a Focus app or bought a sleep machine, you've probably seen these options. You have pink noise, for instance.
Right, so pink noise modifies that full spectrum. Unlike white noise, which just blasts equal energy everywhere, pink noise steadily decreases in energy as the frequencies get higher.
So it rolls off that piercing top end.
Yeah, exactly. It rolls it off. So to our human ears, it sounds significantly warmer and more natural.
It kind of mimics the sound of a steady rainfall, right? Or leaves rustling in a forest.
That's exactly what it sounds like. And then you have brown noise, or sometimes people call it red noise.
Oh, right. Red noise.
Yeah, and brown noise takes that high frequency roll off even further. It concentrates the energy really heavily down in the low bass frequencies.
So it's super thick.
Very thick. It sounds rumbly, almost like sitting inside the cabin of a commercial airplane or, standing near the base of a massive waterfall.
Oh, wow.
And then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have blue noise. Blue noise strips away the bass entirely and concentrates all its energy in the higher frequencies. So it leaves this very thin, airy, sharp hiss.
Thinking of sound in these color spectrums makes it so much easier to visualize, but I want to stick to pure white noise for a second.
Sure.
If I am visualizing what you described earlier, every single frequency from 20 to 20,000 hertz playing at equal energy simultaneously, it's like having a massive 20,000 key piano and just smashing every single key down at the exact same time at the exact same volume.
That is the perfect mental image, total sonic overload.
But wait, if it has no pitch, no rhythm, and no melody,
right?
If it is quite literally the sound of 20,000 piano keys being smashed at once, how does it not just ruin a song? I mean, if I drop that into a pop track, shouldn't it just sound like a chaotic, muddy mess?
What's fascinating here is that the magic of white noise in music production doesn't come from letting that chaos run wild.
Oh,
it comes from how producers ruthlessly shape that chaos. You never just drop pure raw static into a track and leave it alone.
You have to tame it.
You tame it. And when you constrain that static, it stops being a muddy mess and literally transforms into the anatomy of the instruments you know and love.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because I want to track down where this sculpted chaos actually lives.
Let's do it.
If we open up the listener's music library right now, where is the static hiding?
Well, the most crucial place is in the drum kit, specifically the snare drum and the cymbals.
Okay, the snare drum.
Yeah, think about the snare, that sharp crack that dictates the rhythm of almost every modern song. That aggressive impact relies fundamentally on white noise.
Wait, really?
Oh, absolutely. If you take a snare recording and use software to strip away its broadband noise, the drum suddenly feels incredibly weak.
Just hollow.
Hollow. Lifeless. The snap, that physical presence that makes you nod your head, it comes directly from that burst of noise.
But, okay, I'm thinking about high-end studio production, right?
Yeah.
If a producer pays thousands of dollars to record a pristine, physical wooden snare drum in a world-class acoustic room,
sure,
why on earth would they intentionally layer electrical static over that hit? Doesn't that degrade the pristine audio they just paid for?
It actually enhances it.
Yeah.
And it's all because of how our brains process impact.
How so?
Well, acoustic drums can sound a bit dull when they're surrounded by really loud, bright electronic instruments.
They get lost in the mix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to make that acoustic snare punch through a dense mix, a producer will layer a synthesized microscopic burst of pure white noise, perfectly timed with the stick hitting the drum head.
Oh, wow.
And your brain doesn't register the noise as static. It registers it as a massive, larger-than-life pop.
So it's an acoustic illusion.
It really is. And when you look at acoustic cymbals, the illusion is even more pronounced.
Because cymbals are just noise anyway.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The metallic wash of a real cymbal crash doesn't have a discernible musical note. I mean, you cannot hum the melody of a cymbal crash.
Right, that would sound ridiculous.
Exactly. It is just a massive, decaying cloud of high-frequency energy, which is essentially broadband noise.
But this goes way beyond just the rhythm section, right? Because I know synthesizers use this too, and that seems totally contradictory to me.
Oh, synthesizers use it constantly.
But a synthesizer is designed to play beautiful chords and melodies.
It is, but it goes much deeper than just the rhythm. If you look at almost any classic synthesizer, like the iconic machines that define the 1980s, the ones that are meticulously modeled in today's software, they almost always feature a dedicated noise generator sitting right next to the musical oscillators.
But why ruin a pure musical note with a noise generator?
Because absolute perfection actually sounds artificial to the human ear.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, a mathematically perfect sine wave sounds like a sterile computer test tone. It's boring.
Right?
But if you take a lush synth pad or a lead melody and you fold in a tiny, almost imperceptible amount of white noise, it completely transforms the character of the sound.
It gives the life.
Yes. It adds a physical breathiness to it. Producers call it analog warmth. It mimics the subtle organic imperfections of like physical air moving through a brass instrument or the hum of electrical current running through vintage analog gear.
It is exactly like adding artificial film grain to a digital photograph taken on a modern smartphone.
That is a perfect comparison.
Like the digital photo is technically perfect, but the grain gives it texture. It makes it feel lived in and real.
Exactly. And that desire for texture brings us to the entire atmosphere of a track. The lo-fi aesthetic is a massive cultural phenomenon right now.
Oh, yeah. Millions of people tune into those lo-fi beats to study to playlists.
That entire genre is practically a love letter to curated noise.
Right. The vinyl crackle, the subtle tape hiss.
Yeah, the simulated sound of room ambience. These are all variations of noise signals that just wrap the music in this cozy, nostalgic blanket. It is brilliant, intentional sound design.
But this obsession with static and tape hiss isn't some new internet trend, is it?
Not at all.
The modern producers building those lo-fi beats are actually tapping into a very deep, rich lineage of musical pioneers.
They absolutely are.
To really appreciate how noise became an instrument, we have to trace this back to the mid-20th century. We're talking about the 1950s, long before digital software and laptops even existed.
Right. We are looking at avant-garde composers like Karlheinz Stockhausen.
The mad scientists of sound.
Literally. These were individuals working in literal acoustic laboratories. They were physically feeding raw electrical static through massive speakers, recording it, manipulating it, and presenting it as serious musical composition.
Wow.
They completely rejected the idea that noise was an unwanted byproduct or a mistake. To them, it was raw, unmined sonic material.
And what blows my mind is how physically demanding that process was.
Oh, incredibly demanding.
They weren't clicking a mouse. They were splicing magnetic tape with razor blades.
Yes.
And that extreme avant-garde experimentation quickly bled into popular culture. I mean, look at the BBC Radiophonic Workshop in the UK, the team famous for creating the original theme music for the television show Doctor Who.
Oh, the Doctor Who theme is an absolute masterpiece of early electronic manipulation.
Iconic.
And they did not have modern synthesizers to make it. They built those alien, futuristic, sweeping soundscapes entirely by hand.
By hand?
Yeah. They used raw noise generators and test tone oscillators, physically recording bursts of static onto tape, and then cutting, stretching, and layering those pieces of tape just to create rhythm and tension.
It was pure manual labor to turn static into music.
Exactly.
But if the 50s and 60s were about physical tape manipulation, the 1980s are when white noise really goes from avant-garde television experiments to the undisputed foundation of global pop culture.
Oh, definitely.
We have to talk about the Roland TR-808 drum machine.
We do. The TR-808 is arguably the most influential piece of musical hardware ever manufactured.
I'd believe it.
It is the beating heart of modern hip-hop, R&B, and electronic dance music, and the iconic rapid-fire hi-hat sound on the 808.
The exact sound you hear rattling in every single trap beat on the radio today.
That's the one. That sound is not a recording of a real metal hi-hat.
Wait, really? They didn't just record a drummer hitting a cymbal and put that audio inside the machine?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Early drum machines didn't use recorded samples like that. The engineers at Roland generated that famous metallic ticking sound using a synthesized burst of pure white noise.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they just ran that static through a very specific electronic filter to remove the bass, and then shaped it with a volume envelope to make the sound incredibly short and snappy. That is it.
Wow.
The backbone of modern hip-hop is literally just a burst of static shaped into a groove.
And it wasn't just the 808, right? Because in the mid-'80s, you had a whole wave of these machines giving birth to entirely new underground genres.
Oh, everywhere.
Like in Chicago, DJs and producers like Frankie Knuckles were inventing house music.
Yep.
And when you listen to a classic Chicago house track, and you hear that massive rushing cymbal swell that builds up tension right before the beat drops.
Best part of the track.
Right. That is nothing but pure noise synthesis being filtered in real time.
We connect this to the bigger picture. There is a direct, unbroken lineage of innovation here.
How do you mean?
Well, just a few hours away in Detroit, pioneers like Juan Atkins, Derek May, and Kevin Saunderson were building the foundation of techno.
Right.
And they were utilizing relatively affordable hardware like the Roland TR-909 drum machine and the Juno 106 synthesizer.
Similar to the 808.
Exactly. Just like the 808, those machines had noise oscillators baked directly into their circuitry. That allowed these producers to build entirely synthetic, driving rhythms out of thin air.
It's just wild. The irony is incredible.
Isn't it?
The foundational grooves of hip-hop, trap, house, and techno, genres that dominate the global charts today, they were quite literally built by pioneers who were cleverly filtering the sound of a broken radio signal.
It really is. The noise synthesis techniques that avant-garde composers like Stockhausen were painstakingly experimenting with in the 50s, they are built on the exact same physical principles that connected Frankie Knuckles in the 80s to a bedroom tech house producer making a hit song today.
The technology evolved.
Exactly. It evolved from razor blades and tape to microchips and software, but the fundamental physics of shaping noise remained exactly the same.
Okay, so we know the rich heritage. We know the physics. We know how it tricks the brain in a snare drum or warms up a synthesizer.
Right.
But how does a producer actually do it today? If you are sitting in a studio right now, how do you take that wall of 20,000 screaming piano keys and turn it into a tight, rhythmic hi-hat?
Well, let's strip away the specific software brands for a second and just look at the raw machinery of modern music production.
Okay, lay it on me.
You start with a blank canvas on your computer. First, you disable all the traditional musical oscillators.
Turn off the sine waves and the square waves.
Exactly. You want absolutely zero musical pitch. Then, you just turn on the noise generator and crank it up.
So at this point, if I press a key on my MIDI keyboard, my speakers are just blasting continuous, harsh TV static.
Unfiltered, relentless static.
Right.
Right. And now the sculpting begins. The first tool a producer uses is a filter. If we are trying to build a hi-hat, we use a high-pass filter. And we'd set this filter to engage around, say, 3,000 hertz.
And a high-pass filter does exactly what the name implies, right? It acts like a bouncer at a club, letting only the high frequencies pass through while completely blocking out the low and mid-range frequencies.
Perfectly said. By setting that filter at 3,000 hertz, we instantly carve away all the rumbly bass and the muddy middle frequencies.
So it thins it out.
Right. Suddenly, our massive, overwhelming wall of static is reduced to just the airy, hissy, high-end frequencies. It sounds much closer to the physical resonance of a metal cymbal.
But right now, it's still just a continuous, endless stream of high-pitched air. It has no rhythm.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, a hi-hat needs to be percussive. It needs to go tick, 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 not just a continuous...
And this is where we bring in our second tool, the amplifier envelope.
The envelope.
Right. Think of the envelope as a robotic hand that controls the volume knob of your static, moving it incredibly fast. An envelope is broken down into 4 stages: attack, decay, sustain, and release.
Okay.
To make our hi-hat, we set the attack to be instantaneous.
Meaning the very millisecond I press the key, the sound hits its absolute maximum volume. There is no slow fade in. It hits like a drumstick striking brass.
Correct. Next, we set the decay to be incredibly fast.
What does that do?
The decay dictates how long it takes for the initial impact to drop down in volume. We want that energy to dissipate almost immediately.
Got it.
Then we set the sustain to 0. This ensures that even if you hold your finger down on the keyboard, the sound will not hold out as a continuous drone.
It forces it to be short.
Exactly. And finally, we set a very quick release, which dictates how fast the sound fades to absolute silence after you let go of the key.
So what does this all mean?
It means that when you tap that key, the robotic hand instantly throws the volume to maximum and then immediately slams it back down to 0 in a fraction of a second.
Oh, wow.
You have just taken a continuous, chaotic blast of static and forcefully squeezed it into a sharp, tight, percussive transient.
That is so cool.
And by simply tweaking that filter, like allowing a few more lower frequencies in, you can easily simulate the sound of a drummer physically opening their hi-hat pedal.
I absolutely love this concept because it is exactly like carving a statue out of a massive block of marble.
Yes.
You start with absolutely everything, the full 20,000 hertz spectrum of white noise acting as your solid, unformed block of stone.
Right.
And then you use your filters and your volume envelopes as a chisel. You meticulously chip away every single frequency and every fraction of a second you don't want until all that remains is the perfect shape of a hi-hat.
That is the absolute essence of subtractive synthesis.
It's beautiful, really.
It is. Creating music isn't always about building a sound up from nothing. Sometimes, and particularly when dealing with white noise, it is about starting with total, absolute chaos and carving out the instrument that is hiding inside of it.
It fundamentally changes the way you listen to the world.
Oh, completely.
And the real takeaway here for you, the listener, is that the next time you put on your headphones and listen to a trap beat, a massive pop anthem, or a pulsing techno track, I want you to listen closer.
Pay attention to the background.
Yeah, you are not just hearing rhythm and melody. You are hearing meticulously sculpted static hiding right in front of you. You are hearing pure, untamed chaos that has been chiseled into a groove.
It really makes you realize that the visionary producers who built these genres, from the BBC Radiophonic Workshop to the pioneers in Chicago and Detroit, they had to deeply understand the nature of noise long before they could even begin to understand melody.
They had to master the static first.
Exactly. And they built the future of music out of it.
That's just wild.
This raises an important question, one that is really worth considering as we wrap up.
Oh.
If we, as a musical culture, have spent the last 40 years successfully taming, filtering, and shaping pure, chaotic white noise into our most iconic rhythms and foundational sounds,
Yeah.
what other completely chaotic, supposedly unmusical sounds in our daily environment are just waiting for the right filter to become the foundation of the next big musical genre?
Wow, that is definitely something to think about the next time you are sitting in gridlock traffic or walking past a loud construction site or, just listening to the appliances hum in your kitchen.
Absolutely. The raw materials are everywhere.
They literally are. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep your ears open to the hidden sounds of the world around you, and we will catch you on the next one.